This is just a quick comparison of printed materials from PrintPlayGames, the GameCrafter and some commercial products, just so you can see how the different pieces compare. I haven't quite got matching pieces because of course each of the companies do slightly different things, but I'll do my best. So let's start off with the playing cards. This is PrintPlayGames, this is GameCrafter. I can't tell the difference between them, to be honest. There's just a slightly different version in the cut, but in terms of feel and handling, maybe just slightly thicker from PrintPlayGames. Again, by comparison, a Citadel card. Citadel card, slightly different, slightly chunkier feel. It definitely has a linen finish, which neither of these do. Though I think that they both have a linen option. This feels actually almost like it's got a very slight linen feel to it. So anyway, that's the cards. Both sets eminently playable, they shuffle well, absolutely no problems with the cards at all. So printed tiles. So this is the 2-inch tile. The first thing is the GameCrafter only does one-sided print, which is a real shame. There's all sorts of reasons why you want two-sided prints, not least of which economics. You can get double the number of games out if you've got two-sided tokens. It also lets you do things like disable tokens and all sorts of things. This was a two-sided, a 2-inch token, but I've cut it in half. As you can see, they match up in size perfectly, and to be honest, in terms of thickness, there's nothing in it. This is a Carcassonne tile, just no, they're pretty much the same. What you can see though is a Carcassonne tile is slightly smaller, just for reference. But again, tiles, and in both cases, there's just a very slight indent on the back side. Can't even see it on that side from the die cutting machines. I don't have the large scale tiles from the GameCrafter because they don't do them. They are now starting to do some large board game tiles, which I will be looking into. They could be very interesting. So my overall experience with both of them, in both cases a little frustrating. Actually, from start to finish in both cases it took me about 6 weeks to get my order done. Partly my fault, submission of the wrong things, not quite understanding the different processes, just not always getting the right templates and things like that sort. In one case I had some copyright issues, that was with the GameCrafter, but sadly didn't find out that there was a problem with one of the pictures until they actually got ready to print. There was a 2-week delay before they canned it, and that was frustrating. Shipping in both cases from US to UK is a killer, but the GameCrafter was significantly more expensive to ship than it was from PrintPlayGames. But overall, in terms of the quality of the pieces, in both cases, very happy. They both look very professional, absolutely brilliant. No real qualms about either of them. What's frustrating as a game maker is that neither of them produce all of the bits that I need, which is frustrating. It'd be really nice if PrintPlayGames do make boards, but they're handmade. I would like to see those. I don't actually know what they look like, but I'd like to see something that I felt that it would be consistent for games. Conversely, the GameCrafter doesn't make large tiles, which is also very useful to me, and they don't do double-sided printing, which I think is a real shame. Just while I've got all the bits out here, I just want to very quickly show you my toolbox. Basically, I had Andrew at PrintPlayGames print me a load of these things. All sorts of different tokens, some of them for games that I had in mind, some of them for games I hadn't invented yet. I got a whole bunch of these were kind of really cheap bags worth off of Amazon. I did the same thing for dice. Now actually, nobody needs that many 6-sided dice, but they make really great resource cubes. and again, those were off of Amazon. You can buy bags of those for not very much money at all. I also bought a couple of bags of many-sided dice, mostly actually for playing button men, but so that's kind of like the core kit, if you will. And when I was putting these together, particularly on the print side, these tiles are printed both sides with completely different games. We've got, in this case, it's zombies on one side and it's road racing on the other. I also made a geomorphic space game with space consoles on that side and generic corridors, dungeon corridors and stuff on the other. When I'm making stuff, I really like to do that, try and get as much as I can out of each pack. In terms of packages, this is the Ultra Pro Deck box. Alright, but actually a bit pricey. That's the clear version. It's nice to have something to put the cards in, and I wasn't very convinced by the tuck boxes. They didn't feel quite sort of solid and sturdy enough, and were reasonably expensive for what they did. I then found these fellas again online. They were card boxes, but I'm not sure how they're being sold. And I just put a very tiny little bit of Velcro in there just to keep them together. They were ever so cheap. They were like 50p each, so less than $1 each. And absolutely spot on, just the right size for a good 52 card pack.